All right, I want to talk about Steve Harvey and this story that broke everywhere. Hmm. So over the past, we covered that story earlier about Steve Harvey saying like only weirdos are asking for what do you bring to the table, which I agree with him. I agree with him already. That's my evil laugh. If you're asking that question either silently or verbally, okay, that's weird. Okay, that's weird that you have to ask at all, or you have to be obsessed with that at all in order to find out what she brings to the table. And it's even more weird that you will go out on a date or consider anybody that you don't already see what they bring to the table. Okay, if you're asking someone out, right? It's because they earned it somehow, some way. Maybe they look good, whatever. All right. So if you're still asking what they bring to the table, that is lame and weird behavior. But we had that conversation already. He had that. But there's something else happening with Steve Harvey. There's the ex husband of his present wife is dragging is writing a series of books, a tell-all book. The guy was in jail. He was serving life. Okay, his name is what's his name? It doesn't matter. Townsend. His last name was Townsend. Some Mr. Townsend Sauer, and he ended up calling out. He was on Tasha K. It's another gossip platform called Online with Tasha K. Okay, this guy right here, found him. All right, let me show you a little bit of this, and then we can talk about it. All right, just give me 1 second.
When Jason told him that, it kind of pissed
This
him
guy
off.
right here.
And he told Jason, I love your mama, so I got to love you. Now, where's that punk ass, dad of yours? So I don't know if it was from insecurity or what. Could have been, nigga, you a multi-millionaire. I ain't nobody. You ain't got to worry about me.
So this man has never been in the same room with you,
Period. That's what he
but
told.
called you a punk ass.
Yeah, that's what he told Jason.
I mean, you do look better than him.
Huh?
Oh
I
wow.
think so too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be funny for everybody. I remember when Marge and I were together. She used to hate. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell it all. I'm gonna tell it all, y'all. She said, and it was fact. She used to check dudes with big lips. She would call them soup coolers.
You sure? Okay, cool. I'm just excited because we finally back in Memphis.
All right. Let me pause that for a second. So let me bring you up to speed with what we're talking about, right? So Marjorie is presently I like this thumbnail. Let me find it. Marjorie is presently the present wife of Steve Harvey. All right, they've been married for 16 years or so, and this guy is trying to tell all about everything that happened between them. Okay, yeah, that's him right there, and that's Steve Harvey and Marjorie, right? So what I find fascinating about this that I wanted to bring you up to speed about is that, okay, so first of all, they have a mixed family. She had 2 kids from this guy, the guy in white, but he went to jail. He was serving life, and during I think Obama administration gave him what they call clemency. Clemency basically set him free him, even though he was serving life for being the drug kingpin back in the 80s, right? And but now he wants to tell all. And then after listening to some of the story, he's basically salty, He's he calls it is disappointed. What's the source of disappointment? Unrealistic expectations. Okay. Now, granted, he said they were best friends for 20 years. They were married for 6 years. She moved on, had even another child, or even children, had another child outside of him. One of them being Lori Harvey, the popular Lori Harvey, right? Now, what I find fascinating about this, the second thing I find fascinating about this is this. They all want to be a Steve Harvey. They all want to. One of the things that he was really angry about is the fact that his son decided to take on Steve Harvey's last name to be a Harvey, right? So, and I feel for him on that, right? But isn't that still coming from unrealistic expectation? You went to jail and you were serving a life sentence, right? Now, in addition, I can feel his pain. As a father, the last thing you want is for your own child to be taking on another man's name. Like that's, I understand how he feels about that. But now he's telling all and he's using Steve Harvey's name to sell the books. Does he want to be a Harvey too? Right? He claims he's disappointed. Right? So 3 days before she got married to Steve Harvey, she stopped talking to him altogether. She was all the while he was in jail for years. They talked every time. They were best friends. But then he's claiming now that Steve Harvey basically stopped her from talking to him. Yeah, I'm not sure what he expects. Again, this is... Wait, what did you say? Oh, okay. The other thing she said before. So it's kind of weird, but it's not that weird. It's there's consequences in life. And you might not be able to handle those consequences when it shows up. There's always somebody trying to take over your territory. It's an active marketplace. Okay? There's always somebody, they might not know themselves yet, right now, that's trying to take your wife. Yes. There's always somebody trying to snatch your husband. It is an active marketplace. So if you've participated in behaviors that kind of like put you away, shout out to Maddie Love. She has spent 26 years in prison. I think it's better that you build a realistic expectations around that too. And if you're still able to connect with your family, it is a privilege. It is not a right. You can't afford to move with entitlement spirits around this kind of thing. You have to be careful. You have to be careful with moving with entitlement spirits when it comes to just life in general, especially when it comes to romantic love. Okay. All you can do is be your best. Be your best self. If you be your best self, you'll be hot in the marketplace. Nobody will want to leave you. Oh, let me take that back, okay? There's a less and less chance that anybody will want to leave you. There's less and less chance that your partner will fall out of love with you, right? When you continue to be the best self, okay? But if you don't, you will continue to point fingers at the rest of the world but self. And effectively, you as a Townsend will continue to want to be a Harvey, even though that's what you're pushing against. What you focus on expands, right? It's going to be a 15 minutes fame, okay? Your 15 minutes fame from one book. You're going to sell good books, right? Go and ask a Superhead, okay? But it can only last for so long. You're not going to build Steve Harvey's career with one book. All right? But I feel for him, right? He's disappointed. He's disappointed that Marjorie moved on and completely disconnected when she got married to a Steve Harvey. Right? So think about the name Steve Harvey, right? How unrealistic is that to expect that the wife will continue to engage you, right? So he talked about Steve Harvey calling him your punk ass daddy, right? How did you hear about that? What were you talking about? Another problem with the modern men can be any age, by the way, is that they're always worried about what the other man is doing, right? Particularly obsessed with what the other man is doing. Yeah. 26 years in prison, right? It is what it is. At that point, if you come home, you still have, because he still has relation with his children. That's a blessing. They want to carry the Steve Harvey's name because they think it exposes them to opportunity, since it's since it's a blended family, I do think that's weird, but I also have very limited expectations around what. It's a lot of money involved, status, right? And yes, it's easier said than done. If I were him, I would just enjoy this freedom. He was serving life. For him to be out at all is a privilege. Thanks to Obama. Right? I can express to my children why that hurts that you change your name. They literally served them papers to change their name. I can express that to my children, but I will not be expressing that to the public to sell books. But easier said than done. But again, it's going to be 15 minutes of fame. That's about it. Okay. I said, what on the street was that he took the fall for Marjorie. I don't know how true that was. No one is pulling me out of my house to go and take a fall for something I'm not connected to. I know people say that a lot. Yeah, it is a thing. People can take a fall for people. But it was a criminal. Right? And no one is taking a fall for another person unless they've engaged some kind of value there too. Maybe he felt like that's my wife. He felt that's my wife. It sounds unfair, but we don't live in a fair world, right? He felt like that's my wife, my children, mother of my children. I need to take the fall to protect my children. We can argue that's a selfish move. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but we can argue it. Okay? I would argue it actually. Okay? Kathy, hey, how you doing? Yeah. He went to jail for being the kingpin, drug kingpin, which again, people do that, but you went to jail and you're out now. Enjoy the freedom, But I find it interesting that every one of them, including him, wants to be a Steve Harvey. Maybe did you be that? I think that's something to pay attention to. All right. That's all I have to say about that. I'll be right back. All right, let's talk about Iniedo. Remember that story with Iniedo? I said Iniedo. Remember that story with Iniedo, right? Let me play a video for you. That story with Iniedo and Empress, and then somehow she's caught up in the cobwebs of Empress and Josh Wade, the criminal that's been captured now, right? Yeah, let's talk about them really quickly. I want to play a video for you really quickly. Let me find that video. Remember, Iniedo said she didn't know this guy at all. The guy just called randomly and she was at the airport. Remember that? And she was like, what happened to the audio of the video? What happened to the audio of the video? How come nobody is bringing the audio of the video out? Some videos that leaked, right? That linked in. And I want to get your opinions on this, okay? But let me play this video. Another video came out, was basically on the internet, on Instagram. And I was like, all right, that's the video. There's no audio to it, okay? But if you look through the corners, this is a conversation, allegedly, because people do Photoshop stuff. The guy is in the corner talking. You can zoom in if you want, okay? I don't know how you're gonna zoom, but it's quite relaxed. It looks quite relaxed on this, whatever they're talking about, right? And she doesn't seem like she's in a rush this time. She seems like she's lying on her chest or stomach, right? And the guy is doing a lot of the yanni, but it's another video, right? So she claimed that she did not know this guy, even though when they asked her about how did you the picture of your passport, the image of your passport end up in this guy's phone and stuff. It can end up there for any reason. We don't know, right? But I was just curious. I was like, do you still believe that she didn't have anything to do with this guy? She didn't know this guy at all? Do you still believe that? If she was involved with this guy, it wouldn't be a crime. It'd be reckless and careless, just like it was for Empress, right? But was she involved with him? Just a question, okay? I don't know, obviously, right? But it's just interesting, right? It's not interesting that she's involved with him. It's interesting that when they try to control narrative or when they try to do damage control, they tend to forget, right? See, the best thing I would do, right, if I were these people, right, if I have issues, right, and somebody's trying to blackmail me, the best thing you do with blackmail is number one, you call the police. Number two, you ignore. Okay? Number one, you call the police. Number two, you ignore. I need you to write that down, okay? Because maybe you've participated in bad behaviors too in the past. Maybe somebody that you took a liking to, interest in, were recording you, and you were just on your soft life mode. You didn't really know them. For some reason, you find yourself in a situation of blackmail, right? It's very common, by the way. It's very, very common. But again, I just want you to pay attention to some of these things because it can happen to anybody, right? Your natural reaction will be, let me protect myself, right? Let me see here. Yep. That will be your natural reaction. Let me protect myself. Let me lie. Sometimes, people treat lying like, oh, is this intentional thing? Sometimes it's a knee-jerk reaction, right? Let me come up with something to protect myself. Effectively lying, right? I'm not saying she's lying. I'm just saying two video calls. If these are actual real videos, I do think she was capping big time. Cap. I think she was capping big time. Who are the other actresses that were involved with this guy? Because apparently that's what he's known for. Right? It wasn't just one person, right? And over the past several weeks, a lot of Nollywood actresses, their nude were released onto the internet. I still don't know who these people are, but maybe they were D class. I think the person that may seem a little bit more BA class here is Iniedo. Yeah, be careful. There's this thing, a lot of young people now, they make fun of people that don't record themselves when they're doing Kerewa. It's not a big deal, right? It's not really a big deal. It's not that deep. You're acting like you're 40 plus. Well, I am 40 plus. Right? But the truth is that those videos, those pictures can end up anywhere. Be guided. And if it does end up someone is trying to blackmail you, call the police, report it. That's all you can do, I guarantee. Anything else you do is going to make it worse. Have you noticed that when you try to control narrative, it makes things worse, right? Two things you need to do. Call the police. The next thing you should ignore. Continue your life. It's not, I guarantee you, everyone is not going to fall out of the skies if they release your nude to the public. It won't be the end of the world. It's nothing. No big deal. Okay? But if you try to overreact to it, or you're making statements that are not professionally structured, you haven't spoken to a PR, especially if you're a person of status, it's only going to get worse. But I wanted to get your opinions. It looks like you guys went me on me. That's fine. But I just thought it would be interesting. But if you watch this segment later on, please do leave a comment. I want to know what your opinion is. Do you believe her or you don't believe her? I would like to know what you think about that. I'll be right back.